A couple years down the road, you're going to work, and I don't know if you're like this. Sometimes when you work at a place for a while, it gets stale, it gets boring, or you like see all the cracks,
Yeah,
you see
sure.
like all the ways that like, oh, I do my job at X level, but I'm not being compensated like this person. It's just all that workplace politics shit. It can kind of become like all consuming after a while. And like the job that you're working now, you're kind of feeling that way too. You're just kind of like burnt out on the place. You're not as into it as you once were.
I'm not into this.
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing like wrong with it. Really, the only thing like keeping you there is just the hassle of having to go find something new again. Just sucks.
Is it the job that I have now, or is it something
No.
different? Or
It's I mean it's a different job. You're waiting tables at this
hell
place.
yeah. Okay.
Uh and it's like it's not like a great, as far as like restaurants go, it's not like a great restaurant. It's like it's a smaller part of a bigger attraction. It's like the food is secondary, the experience is number one. That kind of a
Oh, okay.
place. And it kind of sucks. You got like a character to play. Like there's just like an idea of who you are as a
A
waiter.
character?
Yeah, kind. I mean, you're just like they have like an expectation that you're going to act a certain way. That's just like what the place is. Because you, my friend, are working at the restaurant from Pulp Fiction
Like that old diner?
inside, yeah, inside of Tarantino Land, America's newest theme park. Quentin Tarantino, uh, Quentin Tarantino of all people wins the Mega Millions. He wins like $800 million,
Oh
right?
man.
And he decides to his ultimate vision of entertainment is he wants to build a Quentin Tarantino theme park. All of his movies are represented, right? And it's just a place for people to come be like Tarantino heads. And so you're working inside of the diner at Pulp Fiction at
$5
the
shakes.
at the end of Pulp Fiction.
Oh, that place
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The sad place
where they almost have like a shootout.
at the very end.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Man, I thought I worked at the fucking
Oh, the cool
place
one
where,
where
yeah,
they're
was
doing
where Steve
drugs?
Buscemi was like some 1950s ass guy or whatever. Yeah,
No,
man, what a letdown, Aaron. So
no.
just
You're
some,
working.
all
Yeah,
right, some diner. Great.
you're working at the diner.
Easily robbed diner.
Oh yeah, and because like that's the role it takes in the movie, there's a lot of people who will like do the lines and stuff, and you guys have to like play along. It's pretty like demeaning, and that's like ultimately that's like part of it.
Okay,
Getting into
sure.
Tarantino land is not cheap.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah. And the line for Django is so long, you
Yeah.
know, as you could probably imagine why. But yeah, it's just like this. And honestly, it's like he spends like his entire lottery winnings fortune on this, right? And he's who better than to like design this thing than the architect of this whole world?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it is like kind of shitty. It kind of sucks.
Is his Grindhouse movie in it?
Yeah, it's out back.
Okay.
It's
I
definitely
I
not as
I
respected
like that one.
as his other works, his
No, it's
feature
not,
length.
but I liked it, man. I actually kind of really
Yeah,
liked it. Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm
But
just
either way,
different.
you're just different. So the only like the coolest part of your day is that at the end of every shift, your diner shuts down when Quentin himself comes inside and he slams the briefcase shut, the glowing briefcase, right?
Sure.
It sits open on a table. It's behind like bulletproof glass. Like nobody's allowed to go near it or anything. You can take pictures in front of it and stuff, but you can't like go get into it or like look into it or
Okay,
anything.
sure.
But every day he comes in, he closes it, the lights in the diner go out, and then he walks home. So you're there one day, right? Uh, and you can spot them, right? You can spot the people who are going to be pricks. You can spot the people who are going to be assholes and they're going to try to, play certain villain roles.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Royale with cheese on the menu, you know, that's your big seller, right?
I bet.
You sell
Even
so many of them.
that's so funny because continuity wise, that makes no sense, but I love it.
No, but like theme park restaurants sense
Of
wise, it's
course,
perfect,
you have to
You
do
have
it.
to.
I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get why they're doing it.
of course.
Sometimes you
And
have to
like,
compromise as an artist.
yeah, and you hear the people saying the lines all day long, People look at you and go, "Hey, do you know what they call the Big Mac in France?" Or and you just have to like play along, right? You just got to fucking play along.
I said, "Bitch, be cool."
And
I always like
one
that one.
day, one day you just have had enough, right? Somebody stands up on a table. They pull like a fake pistol out of their pocket,
Oh man.
but it looks pretty real, right? It looks real. And there's like no announcement that, hey, this is not a real gun. So you freak out, right? You hit a button, like you hear, like security is coming, but this guy fires off a round and you're like, holy shit, this gun is real. Like you're
Jeez.
like, I didn't use this. Like the bullet goes into the wall. There's like drywall that like explodes, it's just this big puff. You're like, fuck this. I don't need this job this bad, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. What's the money
And
like?
it's it's like 80%, it's just like,
80?
yeah, it's like of what you were hoping for. It's
Oh, so it's not
it's
as good as I thought.
no, it's not a train wreck by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not good. And adding on to the fact that somebody just fired a gun off in this place,
Yeah.
you think, fuck this. This job is not worth it. You take your apron off, you throw it on the fucking ground. You go to walk out, you see that golden laptop looking at you, and you think, well, maybe this will make things worth it.
What?
You walk up, you enter the glass cabinet. Normally the alarm will go off, but it's already going off. Because somebody called it because there's a gun being fired off in the restaurant.
Right.
So you see security coming in, they surround the guy, they like tackle him into the ground. A character dressed like John Travolta walks up and stabs him in the heart with a fucking needle that's 6 inches long. In all of the chaos, you grab that fucking briefcase and you get out of there. The last thing you hear is Quentin's unique nasally cadence telling his team to get this guy the fuck out of here. He's just telling him directing his people, and you're just like running, you're just running to get out of there. You got this fucking
Jeez.
briefcase in your hand. You just hear a scream echo throughout the entire place. Like Smeagol when he realized he lost the ring. Just this
Wow.
tense
Wow.
eruption of fear, loss. You get into your Ford Fiesta.
Hell yeah.
You back out of the parking lot. You get the fuck out of there, right? No looking back. You get home. You walk inside. You fire off an email to your boss. It's like, hey, I'm done. Just mail me my check, right? You just send that, get it over with.
Did I ever get to talk to Quentin?
Nah, I mean, not really. He had security with him a lot. He was pretty in and out, and he wasn't like a jovial, pleasant, warm person
Okay.
naturally.
Didn't really make himself available for conversation.
Yeah, yeah, he had other shit going on. He had a fucking theme park to run.
That's a good point, I guess. Yeah.
And let me tell you, run it, he did.
Yeah.
It's wildly successful. But that's not your world anymore. You sit there at home in your chair, get your TV on. You don't even know what it is. It's just something mindless. It's just something to occupy a space that will allow you to dissociate. You're thinking about, oh, I've got X amount of money in my bank, and these are my you're doing all the unemployment math in your head, figuring out how much runway you have. You realize you're going to be okay, and that you've been smart, you've been saving, and you've been careful with things. So yeah, I mean, even if it takes you a minute, you'll be fine. And you have people who love you who are happy to help at the drop of a hat. So you spend that first night, just get uncomfortably high, sit there in a chair. You're watching Press Your Luck. Remember that show with like the no whammy, no whammy, that whammy show?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the right. It's like an updated version of that. It's Press Your Luck, Next
Cool.
Generation.
That's cool.
Yeah. This time if you hit a whammy, like a spike will shoot up through the button, and impale your hand,
Oh my God.
uh or like a very thin razor sharp wire will slide across the back of your ankle
Oh,
to snap your Achilles. It's just stuff like stuff like that. A man dressed as a giant red monster will just come out from behind the curtain and beat the ever loving shit out of you on live television.
who would be on the show?
You know, uh, Risk takers, the desperate, the people who have nothing to live for. That's
Jeez.
part of their thing. At the very end of the show, uh, the guy who hosts it comes out and he goes, folks, if you are desperate, poor, or have nothing to live for, think about becoming a contestant on Press Your Luck, the Next Generation.
That is really sick. Who's the host?
Um, it's it's a guy named Cade Flusher.
Wow.
Cade Flusher has become like America's host du jour, right? He started out doing regional bingo halls all throughout the Mid-Atlantic. And then eventually, a couple of these bingo games got televised, and somebody at the station saw him and said, that guy's got something, you know? They brought him on to be like a guest on like a morning news. He would do like little weird, funny segments. That led to him eventually getting his own. a daytime show on a local NBC affiliate. From there, he got the attention of some regional guys, moved on up to a regional program. And eventually, when they wanted to rebrand Press Your Luck into something a little edgier, something a little more adult, something with a little more stakes, well, they reached out to him right away and he blossomed. And he led the revival of Press Your Luck to like the number one share during the 8 o'clock hour.
And they openly appeal to the depressed and
Yeah.
the vulnerable.
Yeah. They say that. They say if you
Jesus.
are poor, desperate,
Oh God.
daring, come on, Press Your Luck the Next Generation. And they say, or you should seek therapy. Call someone if you need help, you know. And
Well,
they
fuck
do
off.
they do
Yeah.
provide a therapy line for people to call, you know. But they're like, look, this is what we're doing. You're risking severe physical harm
Oh
for an
God.
opportunity at cash and prizes. So yeah, I mean, like it's a thing that people tune into. Either way, you're sitting there watching Press Your Luck, the Next Generation, and you're thinking about like, man, I could always just go on PYL.
It's s- so fucking sad to hear.
I mean, they have a wait list, dude. Right? They have a wait
What's
list.
going on?
People will just do anything to get on television, especially if there's cash and prizes involved. Everybody thinks they're invulnerable,
I
you know.
don't.
Everybody thinks they're invulnerable. The producer of Press Your Luck Next Generation, uh, Jack Jackknife, and he's like a very serious guy, Jack Jackknife, and he's like, look, the people who come
Oh
on this
man.
show, he says, everybody thinks they're invulnerable until they get that first cattle prod to the side, which is another one of the punishments,
Mm.
extensive cattle prodding, and it's the ratings reflect that America loves it and that there's a wait list of people who are willing to go on there and risk severe physical harm for cash and prizes. So you're sitting in your recliner watching Press Your Luck the Next Generation. There's a guy, they do like an intro of all these people. And it's a guy, it says, today's player, and it shows this guy, and he's like, uh
Hey.
my name is Terrence. I'm a father of two, and I'm an architect by trade. And I'm wanting to, and then the whole audience chants, press your luck. Right?
Oh man.
He comes out. He's wearing like a he's wearing a blue button-up long sleeve shirt with a brown vest over it.
Yeah.
Looks like a fucking band teacher. Flusher strolls out into the spotlight. He comes out through a curtain. America erupts. You're laying back in your chair, barely awake. Your moments from dozing off. You see Terrence, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. He hits a whammy. And the last thing you see, just as you slip into that warm undercurrent of sleep, is he's got his like hands on the table and like these metal restraints sort of wrap around his wrists. And then A giant like rolling pin pops up from like the table as well, and it just crushes all of his fingers. Just rolls all of his
Oh,
fingers. It just rolls all of them, you know. And it looks like a fucking cartoon. Like when it rolls back, it's like flat and busted wide open and bleeding. And
oh
then you fall
man.
asleep. You fall asleep, and when you fall asleep, you have this like sensation of falling. Like you're lying flat out, like at a Tom Cruise pose, and you're just falling and falling and falling. The way that Tom Cruise would fall from a great height.
Okay.
And as you descend, you see like an orange speck that you're falling towards. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually you get up close enough to it that you realize that it is that golden briefcase. It's wide open. As you're falling, you stretch your fucking fingers out as far as you can, hoping to grip the handle. And in spite of what seemed like a sure miss, you somehow manage to snag the handle of this briefcase. You continue falling and falling. You look into the glowing golden opening and you see a version of yourself looking back at you. Well, not so much looking back at you, but more like you're looking in at a different version of yourself. There's a version of you that's like outside playing catch with like a 5-year old boy. There's a version of you that is playing a banjo on stage at a crowded auditorium. There's a version of you wearing a red apron and flipping the open sign to closed at your own hardware store.
That is the weirdest one.
There's one of you sitting out on a lake, a quiet, calm, still morning. The only ripples that exist are from where you're pulling in your lure, a look of contentment on your face, a live well that is almost overflowing. There's one where you're sitting at a desk, you're typing on an old keyboard. Bring, you come to the end of the page, you slide the reel back, a smile comes across your face, you lean back in your chair and kick your feet up on the desk and just say, "It feels good to be done."
All right.
There's one with you having like incredibly intense, passionate sex with a woman who is far enough out of your league that like it's this is an impossibility, you know.
Oh wow. Really?
It's yeah, it's that much of a fantasy, but you're both
Really?
loving it, loving every minute of it.
That's hilarious.
So you're falling and you're looking into this box and you keep seeing all of these alternate realities sort of unfolding in real time. You're looking and you're getting like closer and closer. You start to see the dull edges of a space sort of coming into focus as you're falling. You finally see a cavern floor beneath you, and you're just caught up. You're just entranced. You're looking at different versions of yourself inside of this glowing briefcase. You hear you hear like the sound of like the wind you're displacing bouncing off the rocks below, and you break your gaze from the briefcase long enough to just splatter face first on the cavern floor.
Ah,
And with that, you wake up. You wake up and there's another guy on Press Your Luck, The Next Generation, where
Still on?
yeah, it's like all that plays on this channel. They're just
Okay.
constantly playing it, right? That's how popular it is. But so this guy is just like getting kicked in the nuts over and over again by like a goat. They have a guy that like he hits a whammy. They have a guy that like walks out and he's like a farmer and he looks like a farmer, you know, he's wearing like coveralls, he's got a big straw hat and he's pulling a goat with him and the contestant gets like locked into place by its ankles and then like you hear like a robotic noise as he's like lifted up off of the like the stage and laid down onto his back. And then
Okay.
the farmer just walks this goat and he's like, kick him. And the goat just like kicks and this guy's nuts
Yeah, okay.
for like a long time. The farmer has to do a crossword puzzle and the kicking only stops when he's done. So, you know, it could take a while. So you kind of like wake up, you're looking there, you see the laptop, or not the laptop, the briefcase, a soft golden glow emitting from its cracks. Do you open it?
Yeah.
You open it. You look into it, and the back panel of the upper portion that gets lifted up, you're looking into it, and again, it's like you see you've long held this idea in your deepest, most center point of your being. The happiest day you ever had was one day when you were a kid. You were in like seventh grade. There was a snowstorm in your town and your school got called off. You had a snow day, and the other kids in your neighborhood all got together and had like this big snowball fight, right? Your little brother was there, Kevin, fresh off of his award winning performance at the Hamlet Swim Club.
But it's winter?
What's that? The winter? Yeah, he's in the winter swim club
Okay.
where the brave kids swim. So, you know, Kevin has a year-long run of dominance at your neighborhood swim club and was maybe a little bit of talk of the brood, but you'll never forget just this picture perfect day. The sun came out, the top layer of snow melted. They made for great snowball snow. You and your friends played outside for hours. You came in, rosy cheeks. Your mom had some hot cocoa on the stove. And for whatever reason, it just feels like the last time that you had true joy without any expectation. Just a kid playing on a snow day. You're looking into that opened briefcase, and you can almost feel that Virginia flurry pushing through. You can almost feel the snow on your skin. You reach out, you kind of like try to touch the back wall. It feels cold, you know. You pull your hand out, you see your hand is like covered in snow. What the fuck? What do you do? You hear a young voice from inside call like, "Hey Pat, good job."
I guess I investigate that voice.
So you kind of like reach in. You feel the snow as it collects on your hand. You let go. You put your other hand inside. You make like a little makeshift snowball.
Hell yeah.
You kind of you don't know how it's doing this, but the the briefcase, the golden briefcase from the end of Pulp Fiction is just floating in front of you. You got that snowball in your hand. You see your little brother kind of come into frame wearing a medal
Oh,
around his neck. That cocky motherfucker.
okay.
You rear back, you throw the snowball through the briefcase. It breaks whatever sort of multiverse barrier is there and hits Kevin right in the face.
Fuck you, Kevin.
You say that. You say, fuck you, Kevin. He turns and he looks at you. He leaps through the briefcase and he grabs you by your collar and pulls you into the cold. And you're then stuck inside of the briefcase. And later on, Quentin Tarantino comes to your house and he writes a movie based on your most horrifying, embarrassing moments. And he's like, I made one more movie. And they build another wing on top of the Tarantino theme park. And it's all about your movie that he writes about you. And it's basically like, it's called The Failure. And it's basically like it's one man's it's one man's like struggle to stay relevant and to capture the lost essence of his youth. And it's definitely like more of a character piece than anything Tarantino's done before.
Oh my
But
God.
they use like they use like videos of like your clips and stuff and like photographs and everything. They feed it into an AI model and you're like the star of the movie. And there's definitely like a part where you're like jacking off and like totally nude.
For
And
oh
there's
my
like an AI
God.
version
For
of your penis. And
ah,
Tarantino took a long time to like change the size and shape of it until it was maybe the most humiliating. And everybody in your family
why?
saw it and they applauded at the end of it. They all
When I
stood up and they
die?
applauded.
When I die at the end, they all
No, you
uh
don't you don't like they just thought that like the AI's performance of you was really good. But yeah, there's like the
but
scene.
why did he do that to me? I don't understand. For what reason?
I mean, he made a lot of money. He was able to build another wing onto the Tarantino theme
No,
park.
I understand that. Why did he make me nude and jacking off and make my dick smaller than it is? I don't understand why he would
Dude,
do
he's the
that.
artist, all right? Not me. I don't know. You'd have to talk to him. I don't know why. Why does he make the choices he does? Because he knows how to make a fucking good movie. That would be my answer. He did what he does. And it's like a 3.5 minute scene of you struggling uh to to please yourself.
Is the movie any good?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's really good.
All right.
It's seen as like the first landmark AI performance.
Oh, well, that's not good.
No, it's actually the movie that a lot of people point to and say that this is when film died.
Oh man, the failure.
Yeah.
The failure.
They
That
say
is
the 3.5 JO, the 3.5 minute long JO scene is the moment where film fucking died, where the computer slits the film's throat and it bleeds out onto the cinema floor, never to be cleaned by the ushers.
all right. Well, man, that fucking sucks, Aaron. That sucks so bad.
Yeah, you're hated.
God damn it. Oh man, I really like that guy's movies too, and he did be like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Sorry.